What if I told you that the clock is ticking, and somewhere deep beneath Russian soil, a missile system capable of ending civilization as we know it has just been activated? That behind the cold silence of the Kremlin, urgent briefings are taking place, and a single command from President Vladimir Putin could unleash a nightmare the West hoped would never return. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't science fiction. It's the grim reality taking shape right now on the edge of Europe. The tensions between Russia and NATO have escalated once again, and this time it's far more serious. In the early hours of the morning, reports began to circulate from military intelligence and satellite surveillance indicating unusual activity near one of Russia's most secretive military installations. This facility, believed to house part of Russia's strategic nuclear arsenal, including what many call the Doomsday missile, has gone on high alert. This particular missile, officially known as the RS-28 Sarmat, is a next-generation intercontinental ballistic missile capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads and striking targets anywhere on the planet. In Russian military doctrine, it is designed to serve one purpose: absolute retaliation. But now, growing fears suggest that it may not be a weapon of last resort anymore. The chilling possibility is that it could become a tool of strategic intimidation, or worse, part of a preemptive threat posture against NATO itself. Recent military exercises in the Kaliningrad region have raised eyebrows. Russia has moved hypersonic, capable missile systems and conducted simulated launches close to the borders of NATO states like Poland, Lithuania, and Estonia. These aren't just routine drills, they are signals. Loud, unmistakable signals, and NATO is listening. President Vladimir Putin has remained composed in public, but his words during a recent closed-door military strategy briefing were clear. If our sovereignty and the lives of our people are threatened, we will respond with all available means. The world must understand, we are not bluffing. His statement, while carefully calculated, sent shockwaves through Western defense communities. The Kremlin is pushing the narrative that NATO's growing presence in Eastern Europe and the steady militarization of its borders amount to a slow-motion encirclement. Moscow sees NATO not as a defensive pact anymore, but as a growing threat that must be countered, proactively if necessary, according to state media and high-ranking officials in the Russian Duma. The prospect of conflict with NATO is no longer theoretical. One senior member, who requested anonymity, said this: "The possibility of a military confrontation with NATO states is no longer remote. It's realistic. We must be prepared for any scenario." This statement has alarmed many within the international community. European capitals have seen a spike in emergency security meetings. Military command centers from Berlin to Brussels are being lit up with round-the-clock surveillance updates and contingency planning. The United States has responded with caution. Pentagon sources confirm that the Strategic Command has adjusted its alert posture, and reconnaissance operations over the Baltic Sea and Black Sea have been increased. While no nation wants to provoke open conflict, everyone is preparing for the possibility that a single miscalculation could lead to a rapid escalation. What makes this even more dangerous is that we are not just dealing with conventional weapons anymore. The Doomsday missile, if launched, doesn't just end a battle, it ends the future. The RS-28 Sarmat is designed to bypass current missile defense systems, and according to Russian defense officials, it can render NATO's shield useless. This growing standoff has also triggered fear among democratic leaders within Russia, some of whom are quietly urging restraint. Independent voices and moderate politicians warn that aggressive posturing risks dragging Russia into a catastrophic conflict. But their voices are increasingly drowned out by hardliners who believe this is Russia's moment to reclaim geopolitical dominance. International analysts warn that continued brinkmanship is not sustainable. The balance of deterrence, built over decades, is now at its most fragile point since the Cold War. A single miscommunication, a misread radar signal, or an unplanned military encounter could set off a chain reaction no side can control. And yet, inside Russia, the state media narrative continues to prepare the public for the possibility of war. Mobilization efforts have quietly ramped up, and young men across various regions are being summoned for military training under the banner of national defense preparedness. In the midst of this, President Putin remains unwavering in his stance. Russia will never accept being treated as an inferior power, he said in a recent speech. We will defend our people, our borders, and our sovereignty with the full strength of the Russian Federation. So where does this leave us? On the edge. One decision, one provocation, one command. That's all it takes. Because when the world begins to believe that a Russian strike on NATO is realistic, the game of deterrence changes. And with it, the future of Europe, and perhaps the world, hangs in the balance. This is no longer just a political standoff. It's a test of survival. Watch closely, because history may not be written with ink this time. It may be written with fire.